by acknowledging that we meet on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. I offer my respects to the Wurundjeri elders, past and present, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Members of the gallery, please note this urban planning meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to Council's website. This recording will also be available as video on demand. Gallery attendees are advised they will be recorded during the meeting. Councillors, just as a reminder that in line with the adopted councillor conduct principles as outlined in the Councillor Code of Conduct, councillors should ensure that they conduct themselves in the meeting with integrity, impartially exercise their responsibilities in the interest of the local community and not improperly seek to confer or advantage any person. This behaviour will support principles for leadership and good governance that secures public confidence in the office of councillor. I'd like first to do some introductions by introducing the councillors in attendance tonight. And those councillors are Councillor Natalie Aboud, Councillor Anna-Olivia Carley-Hannon, Councillor Ali Afanli, Councillor John Kavanagh.
Good evening.
Councillor Dale Martin.
Hi.
And Councillor Mark Riley.
Good evening.
The officers in attendance with us tonight are Group Manager City Development, Philip Priest, Planning Coordinator Darren Camilleri, Planning Coordinator Mark Hughes, Planning Coordinator Narelle Jennings, Senior Urban Planner Ashley Maniti, and Governance Officer Saskia Hunter. I'll now move on to the apologies. We have received an apology from Councillor Helen Davidson, the Mayor, who's currently away. Are there any further apologies we've received? No? Could I have a motion to accept this apology? Councillor Kavanagh, is there a seconder? Yeah. Councillor Riley? No further comment on that? Yes, Councillor Kavanagh.
Councillor Davidson, as you said, there are a couple of other councillors that we are expecting tonight. We haven't moved Councillor Yildiz because since the ceremonial meeting, he's decided to withdraw from the committee.
Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. I'll now put that apology to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? I declare that carried. We're moving now to the adoption of the minutes. Could I please have a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the planning meeting held on the 22nd of March 2017? Councillor Martin, is there a seconder? Councillor Riley. Are there any comments on that one? No, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. We're now moving on to the declaration of interests and or conflicts of interest section, and I believe there are a couple of conflicts to declare, so I'll hand it over to the councillors who wish to declare the conflict.
Yes, I need to declare a conflict to the Pentridge extension. So DED 3217, thanks Councillor Afanli. It's an indirect conflict via my husband.
Thank you. Councillor Aboud. Councillor Afanli?
Yeah, I've got a conflict with DED 2917 30 on Palmer Street. I'm one of the objectors.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Afanli, and welcome Councillor Tapanos to the chamber. So at the time that those matters come before the meeting, each of the respective councillors will leave the room for just that item and return once it's over. I'll now outline how the Urban Planning Committee will run this evening. The relevant planner will introduce the report and officers' recommendations. I'll then give any objectors the opportunity to move to the lectern to make their submission. After this time, the applicant will be given the opportunity to speak. If you're making a submission, please clearly state your name and address for the record. You're requested to present viewpoints clearly and concisely on why you support or oppose the planning application. Please try not to repeat what earlier speakers have said and keep the discussion focused on the relevant issues and points that haven't been raised previously. If you're opposed to a planning application, we'd really like you to inform the committee why you're opposed and perhaps suggest an alternative approach which would satisfy your concerns. And please use this opportunity to focus on your concerns rather than the matters of detail in the officer's report. There's a time limit of 3 minutes for each speaker, but as chairperson, I reserve the right to increase or reduce the time available to any speaker. And if you do wish to go beyond time, please let me know at the start of your speaking. And we welcome Councillor Bolton to the chamber as well. So we're now moving to the first item, which is DD 2917 on Palmer Street, and Councillor Afanli will fix the mic and then leave the room. We'll just wait one moment. And I'll turn to the officer to present the report.
Thank you. So the first item is 31 Palmer Street in Fawkner, and the proposal is for the development of land, the construction of 4 dwellings, being 3 double-storey and 1 single-storey dwelling. Site's located at the Bend, of the street and is located in a neighbourhood residential zone. Going through some photos, the photo up on the screen is the subject site. It's got an existing single-storey brick dwelling and a driveway on the western side. The surrounding area is characterised by single-storey detached dwellings with backyards, large front setbacks, and typically hipped roofs. Moving on to the proposal. So it's four dwellings accessed off a central driveway that is providing car access to all the dwellings. We have 3 double stories at the front and 1 single-storey dwelling at the rear. The private open spaces are located along that side of the site and have access to the main living areas. They're all 2-bedroom dwellings with the exception of Unit 3, which is a 3-bedroom dwelling. On the upper floor, we got the proposals for bedrooms for the front unit. The living area is located at the first floor of Unit 2, typically known as a reverse living arrangement with the bedrooms on the ground floor. And Unit 3 has 3 bedrooms on the upper level. That's what the proposal will look like from the street, showing the streetscape elevation on the top and the side elevation, the east elevation shown at the bottom. And the elevation on the west is shown on the top and the rear single-storey dwelling shown at the bottom there. So the application was advertised and we received 2 objections to the proposal. The objector is there located to the south of the site and the other objector is located off the map. The key concerns were raised in relation to a driveway access on the bend and traffic safety, the traffic movements in and out of the site and overlooking. The objector located there was concerned about overlooking. Just in terms of shadow impacts, the proposal complies with the planning scheme in relation to acceptable overshadowing impacts. The summary of the report is that the proposal has a good compliance with the Clause 55 standards, and that will be further enhanced with the recommendation provided in the report, which is circled there, which shows Unit 2, which currently is a reverse living arrangement, being flipped so that the living area is at the ground floor and the bedrooms are on the upper level, and an increased open space area to provide more landscaping in that location. So the applicant has put those sketch plans on the screen and has agreed to those, and the recommendation in the report is to condition it so that it meets what we see up on the screen. So the Group Manager City Development is recommending approval of the development.
Thank you very much, Officer. I'd like now to ask if there are any objectors who wish to come forward. No objectors to this item. Is a representative of the applicant here tonight? Please come forward. Would you wish to speak to the application?
Yeah.
Yes, please come forward to the lectern.
Thank you. I'm the applicant. My name is Malcolm Samaratunga. So I'm just, first thing I thank for the committee, give me opportunity to represent myself and respond to this objection. We got 2 objections. One, the councillor said, one for the overlooking, another one for the overdevelopment. Overlooking, actually we think we address all the issues in terms of the 1.8 fencing downflow and all this screen upper flow. But again, if there's any concern about this overlooking, this screening issue with the council, we're happy to comply with this council recommendation, screening all upper flow habitable roof windows. The second thing coming for the overdevelopment of this site, the overdevelopment in my feelings, in terms of which part, which terms the overdevelopment happened, it's in according to all the development is according to the applicable zone, like a neighborhood zone, it's allowed the 4 dwellings, pretty much. So we propose the 4 dwelling, and again, it's an 8 meter maximum height. We provide 7.64 meter maximum height, 2-story dwellings, but large, rare one is a single story. And other one is, it's mentioned about that neighborhood zone gardening, minimum garden space. So the proposal set back every boundaries except for the one small north boundary, 4 meters on the boundary. Apart from that one, everything is set back fairly, keep distant. So it's allowed to do all the planting. So the proposal provides the 7 canopy trees within this development, even the fairly setback from the street. It's a 7.5 meter setback from the street. So, and 26%, close to 27% permeable space. That normally the 20% is the standard. The second one is that they're talking about the neighborhood character, but this one is the area of this property is commercial property, commercial building actually, and this is within the commercial building and the neighborhood building. And again, it's close to very Sydney Road, close to amenities, where number 37 is a multiple subdivision. So our proposal is a single story in the rear. So I think in our perspective, this is a character, is comply with the character policy. And that's, in terms of this location, in terms of the size, this is 850, close to 850 square meter block. This is large enough to cater the 4 dwellings. And again, this proposal is comply with the full clause 55 standard. So only the council will be concerned about the overlooking, except for that one, is comply with all standard come to clause 55. So this all reason I'm saying the proposal is not an overdevelopment in the site. And another one they're concerned about the traffic. Yes, that we provide the enough space for the development, and again enough moving space, forward direction, exit. So it's a safe site, you know. It's not that in the corner or anything. And we provide the pedestrian display, visible display. So this is not unsafe or anything to regard to the traffic. And again, council traffic department clearly state this is not negatively impact to the traffic in the Palmer Street. So in all about these things, I think this is comply with all standard council and it's not an over development on the site.
Thank you. I'm just conscious of the time, so if you could start summarising, that'd be concluding.
That's
that
the
would be
final
great.
is that's the one I come to final. So we are asking council planning committee to support this one because the whole thing is compliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
Thanks.
your presentation. Before you sit down, I might ask councillors if they have any questions of the applicant at this stage. Any questions of clarification or anything? No?
I just have a
Yep,
quick
Councillor
question.
Abood.
Hello, thank you for coming in. I was wondering if you have any idea, if you can estimate, I'm thinking about all of the bedrooms upstairs, whether the bedrooms will each have a reverse cycle air conditioner.
Yes, please. Yeah.
You think they will?
Yeah.
And so you think perhaps there will be 7 reverse cycle air conditioners on the site to cater for the 7 bedrooms?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Councillor Riley.
My question is similar. Thank you for coming in. I'm just curious about there is some northern aspect to this design, but did you consider solar passive in the design issues when you oriented the properties?
Yes, yeah. All the backyards, all the private open space face into the north. Even all the living space face into the north. You can see that the north facing very much. All 4 dwellings, and in terms of the north aspect, I think it's not only one section. So all property, all development is facing the north.
Thank you very much. Any further questions of the applicant? No? That's fine. Thank you very much. You may be
Thanks.
seated.
Thank you very much.
Councillors, is there a motion around this proposal? Yes, Councillor Kavanagh.
I'd like to move the officer recommendation on pages 3, 4, 5 and 6. And if I have a seconder, I'll speak to it.
Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. Is there a seconder to this application? Councillor Riley? Councillor Kavanagh.
Thank you very much. Look, it's interesting. Although there are only 2 objectors and we haven't had anyone come tonight, that's not what's forefront of my support of this application. Because sometimes you may have limited objectors, but you need to look at the actual application itself. And now that the Unit 2 has gone from being a reverse living to a conventional living, that was the only major concern that I had. If we line it up with Rest Code, it does seem to fulfil almost every criteria of Rest Code, as was mentioned by the applicant. Just making the point, just again, it's not that there's limited objectors. It's still possible to have a refusal, even if there are no objectors. But what it is the context of what the application is, and it must be judged on its own merits. And I believe when you do that, I believe this deserves support.
Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. Councillor Riley, do you wish to add anything further? Okay. Are there any councillors who wish to speak against Councillor Aboud?
Against?
Yes, or do you
I just-
a general comment
So,
if it's not against?
Yeah, I just have a general comment about this development. I do think that we do need to see a level of development in Moreland, because it's very important to me that we don't keep building into what I call the food bowl, which is out in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. But I worry about how we're going to look back on this era of architecture, and I'm very concerned about the lack of solar panels, and I also think that it would be great if we could design our buildings so that we don't need to use 7 air conditioners, which then have a huge electricity cost for the people living in the apartments. So although I can see that you've ticked the res code, I see you have good access to the freeway if someone's driving to work, or wherever, that's great. It's not too far from public transport, and I hope that we'll endeavour to improve the bus service in Fawkner at that north end so that people can get closer to the train. And so I can't vote against this development because I have no grounds to do so. But I think it will be a really great thing when we start to see some better alternatives to 7 air conditioners on one block of land. And so I appreciate you coming along to present, and they're my feelings.
Thank you, Councillor Aboud. Are there any councillors who wish to speak to this? Any further councillors who wish to speak to this? No? In that case, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? I declare that carried. I'll now turn to the officer to outline the next step.